So, yeah, let's bring them in from the hallway, unless they're already out recruiting. We'll make sure we get this thing taken care of. Great to be with you. What an amazing event. I'm always inspired every time I come to these events. I don't know about you, but boy, on Wynn, he just laid it down, didn't he? That was incredible. Really great. We could actually just end it on that and be done. I hope I don't screw it up after that one. But he was fantastic, amazing, and just listening to the stories of people. I say to myself, if I was challenged to learn another language, could I stand on a stage 4 years later, 5 years later, and give a presentation, And we've seen that today. I am just humbled. It is incredible to see what many of you people are doing. It is remarkable. So, my job is to kind of talk about the future a little bit, and I have to say that I'm glad 2014's gone. I really am. I kind of thought, well, that's a little bit of a difficult year. We had some great spots during 2014, but I am really excited about what's going to take place this year and next year and going forward. I think the company over the next 24 months has some really amazing things lined up. So I love to talk about having some vision. I think On laid it out for you as far as the challenges and kind of armoring you, putting the Teflon on you so that you can handle the challenges, the stress, the rejection, and move forward and not let external things affect your internal choice about where you're going in your life and what you want to accomplish in your life. And for me, I've always thought that exact same way. I really didn't care what anybody else said or thought. I knew what I wanted to do, where I wanted to go in my life and in my future, and I've been able to accomplish that with the help of a lot of other great people. So, where there is no vision, people wander, they drift. The scripture is that where there is no vision, the people perish. And so it's always incumbent upon a leader, and that means you're here today, and you're going to be a leader if you're not, or you're already a leader. That's up to you to paint the vision so people can see where are we going. You've heard it said many times that if you light yourself on fire, people will come from miles around to watch you burn. Right? You've got to have that energy. You've got to have that vision, that passion about where you're going. You've got to state it publicly. You've got to say it to your team. This is what I'm going to do now. This is what's going to happen this year. And you've got to be bold about that vision, about where you're headed. The future for Nu Skin is about to accelerate. We've had our pause in 2014, but it's going to accelerate again. We've got great things lined up to make that happen. So over the next 24 months, we're launching Epic Essential Oils. That's going to happen in April, and that's going to be a significant piece of business for us. We'll talk about that. We're going to launch ageLOC Youth in this country, in the Americas region, I should say. That'll happen in October of this year, and that's another serious step forward in terms of anti-aging nutrition. And then we're going to launch ageLOC Me in the Americas, and that's going to happen in October of 2016. So what I look at is I look at it today, and I say to myself, we're sitting here in January of 15. We've got about a 22-month window to lead up to the launch of, ultimately, ageLOC Me. And I think that really is going to be a significant game changer in the industry of skincare. And I'll give you some comparisons to help you see what that's all about. Now, I'm not an expert at all on essential oils, but I have watched with interest what a couple of local companies have done. One of them, I'm a landlord to them for part of their space, and so I've been interested in watching, their growth and what they've been doing, and it has been stunning, frankly. So we have two companies right here in this area that have kind of pioneered this category. And in the beginning, it was small, and we watched it, but it's become a size that you really can't ignore it. And you have to say, okay, it's time for us to participate. It is the fastest growing product category today in the industry. It has taken up a big chunk of business. These two companies that I'm speaking of, sales for this year, although they're private and a lot of people don't really know where it is, it's about $1.8 billion. So we're approaching a $2 billion category just in essential oils, and it is remarkable the size. We've been doing botanicals, if you want to say, natural plant-based products for 20 years. Nu Skin introduced its Epic line of products 20 years ago. And for that whole time, they've taken 25 cents in every one of those products that gets purchased and have donated that to Force for Good for all kinds of indigenous people and their causes that needed to be supported. Whether it's saving rainforests or putting in drinking water or whatever it's been, the company has done a lot of great things with just 25 cents on those products. And these oils will do the same thing, and it's going to really expand the kind of contribution to Force for Good for sure. So we're going to up the ante because we're going to launch these products with higher quality and better purity at the same price. And the reason that we can do that is because we have tools and technology at Nu Skin Laboratories that, frankly, these other companies don't have. That allows us to take the raw ingredients and put them through the 6S process that Pharmanex is famous for, and ensure that we have really high quality, really high standards. I won't mention which company, but through the process of testing some of these other competitors' oils, it was found out that one of them actually had pesticide residue. And you're like, wow, they're touting themselves as completely pure and so forth, but they don't have the technology to even know if they're really that pure. Well, we do. And so you can rest assured that the products that Nu Skin will come out with will be literally the very best quality, the highest purity that you can get. And when people in this industry, the users of products like this, that is everything. And if you're going to put a product on your body for a long time, like maybe every day for the next 40 years, you got to make sure that there's nothing in that product that could have any adverse effects. And so you can rest assured that's the case with Nu Skin and its product in this category. Launch date is April 9th. There's about 15,000 packages available, about, I think, 5.8 or 6 million in commissionable sales volume, and those packages are going to go. I can tell you there's serious demand for these types of products, and it would behoove you to start to learn. I'm in the process of learning and understanding, exactly how they work, what they do, and what the story is behind them so that they can be effectively marketed. But it will be an exciting thing. Let me just give you one reference point that you might find interesting. So Nu Skin kind of sat back a few years ago when other companies came out and they launched juice products. Companies like Bonavie, companies like Zango, other types of companies that had various kinds of juices. And these companies built their whole businesses just on bottles of juice, right? Well, today, if you look at the volume of a lot of these companies, and you look at the volume that we do in G3, which is a product that Nu Skin came out with, that most people would have said, hey, they're way late to that party. All these other juice companies have already built these really substantial businesses on the unique juices and juice sources. And Nu Skin comes up after waiting, watching, doing the analysis, doing the research with a product that is an incredible product called G3. And that product today is doing more business than the remnants of all those other companies for juices. So just all by its own, no real promotion of any kind. We launched a product, it's out there, it's a $150 million product. And you stop and think about, is that significant? If you're going to build a business and you have, a desire, there's a category that develops, and there's a desire for a product like that, should Nu Skin then step in, even if some people say, well, you're late to the category? It doesn't really matter, because we know we're going to step up with the best purity, the best quality, and we're going to step into, a growing, expanding category. We're going to fill the need, fill the demand for that kind of a product in that category, and just wait and see. Let's see what happens over the next 5 years with essential oils from Nu Skin through the Epic line. I bet you it'll be as big as anybody. So, significant category, and interesting to note that it's not new to us. We've been doing botanicals for 20 years. We're just now going to get really focused on playing the game with the oils. This was the slide from the Investor Day conference that they put on the screen. These oils are going to launch also in China next year, is what it looks like, maybe later this year. I'm not exactly sure of the launch date. The oils in the U.S. Are going to be like this, is how they'll look. So we're going to end up having 3 pure oils, and we'll have 5 blends, And these blends have been strategically selected by analyzing our competitors and looking at their blends of oils and looking at which ones do by far the most volume. With this lineup right here, with these 8 bottles you see on the screen right there, we will capture about 90% of the volume that they're doing in these other companies. So that'll cover about 90% of their sales with these eight bottles here. So looking forward to this category. Let's talk about age-lock youth. Back in 1992, Nu Skin came up with a product that was called VitaLife Pack. And in 1992, Nu Skin was the first company to take multiple capsules and seal them inside of a plastic sachet. So all you had to do was just tear the sachet open and you could have all of your stuff instead of twisting tops off the bottles and so forth. You could just have it in your pocket, carry it with you, and easily access the product. As soon as we did that, we started selling a lot. The company changed the name to Life Pack. They dropped the Vita off and it just became Life Pack. That was about 1994. And the business in Life Pack has become a really substantial business. We're one of the top 2 or 3 suppliers of supplementation in the world now by selling Life Pack around the globe. It's a significant piece of our business. So, you have to have a little trepidation when you say, wow, look at the existing installed base of users that are using this product, hundreds of millions of dollars a year of consumption, and now we're going to go out and we're going to up that. We're going to potentially cannibalize all of this existing business in preparation for something new. The world is full of failed companies who are so stuck on their existing bases of business they wouldn't ever look outside and really innovate and expand. And other people did innovate and expand, and those other businesses who wouldn't change went away. So you think you need to probably give Nu Skin a round of applause for this because they're not afraid to say, hey, there's some amazing new technology out there, specifically driven by LifeGen in Wisconsin, that has come up with some really unique new genetic pathways that can help really in the anti-aging of our bodies. And Nu Skin's not afraid to cannibalize their $400 or $500 million Life Pack business, to take the next step. And so that's what's going to happen. This product will be scanner friendly, so it'll produce a great scan score if you're taking it. It'll still have that component as part of it, but they're going to expand now. And it's going to do different things in different ways. I'm not an expert on this one. We're going to get this October 15, by the way. But Joe Chang has said a little bit about it. You all listen to him talk a little bit about youth. So it's an exciting kind of new approach. It's kind of now the next step. It's become the obvious step. I was in Australia a couple of weeks ago. I had to go warm things up for On before he got there. But just kidding, On. You'll do just fine by yourself. I was down there and I ran across Prevention Magazine, the Australian issue of it. Incredible article in there about personalized, customized nutrition and what's happening with genetic expression and customized nutrition. It's a phenomenal article. In fact, maybe I'll put that on OCG or something and you guys can get it. But I was reading that and it was really impressive to see where things are heading and where genetic testing is heading. Within 10 years, Nu Skin will be able to customize a genetic product for an individual. And where that whole market's going is so exciting and so huge. It's going to expand that dramatically. People will then see, hey, it's not just me buying, packets or bottles. I can actually know it's made for me, and it's going to affect my body in very unique ways. And so this is the beginning of heading down kind of a whole new path of nutrition, and it's going to be fantastic. All right, let's talk about Age Like Me. This is 22 months out for us here. For Carl and Lennon and the people in Europe, it's coming in, 8 months, 9 months, right? Yeah, so they're going to get it October of this year in Asia and in Europe, and we get youth, and then they get youth the next year. That's how that'll work. So we're just trading. This is going to be an amazing product, and because we're going to have it in other parts of the world a year in advance of having it here, we're going to hear a lot of success and a lot of stories before it arrives here that'll really help us in the Americas to penetrate the market with this really brand new technology. So I'd like to just draw a couple of comparisons for you for a moment so that you can see exactly the potential size of this thing. This is a really interesting thing. You probably know Keurig. How many people have Keurig machines in your house? In your place of business? Okay, a few of you do. This has been one of the hottest stocks the last 5 years. This company started off and came up with a kind of a disruptive technology in the coffee business, the hot beverage business. So they started doing their thing, and if you look at kind of, I highlighted, it's hard to see in the blue, but a socially responsible, premium, high-tech, innovative. You notice any of those words in there that may relate to like us, like Nu Skin, what we do? Yeah, exactly. So this company is a really exciting company to see what they've done. Look at their stock chart. Hey, all great stories have a little bit of a pullback, just like we're having right now on our stock, right? But that's the 10-year chart on their stock. And they're going to keep climbing. You know, this is an interesting thing. So these guys came out and said, well, forget instant coffee and forget blending a pot of coffee. We're going to make little blends in these little cups. And they came up with disposable cartridges that have different flavors and blends and formulas and so forth that you can put in this machine, and you can press the button and you can get instant brewed on demand, beverages. So if you look at that machine right there, they're not cheap, but they've sold an awful lot of these things. Got lots of different kinds of selections and flavors and things that you can decide what you want. And look at that. With auto delivery, you'll never run out. They've even got auto ship going, just like we do, right? And so you can order it, they deliver it right to your house. This is a pretty interesting thing. Just look in the middle of that slide. How many brewers have they sold? 45 million machines. 45 million machines. Do you know how many facial spas and galvanic spas Nu Skin have sold? Like 5 million globally. Okay? 45 million brewers these guys have sold. Look at their net sales up in the upper left-hand corner there. 4.7 billion on one appliance, one device, and just running these cartridges through it. How many cartridges have they sold? Look at the lower left-hand corner. 30 billion portion packs sold. 30 billion. That's a lot of packages of coffee, right? So this is a very interesting model. Let's look at another model for just a second. Let's compare this to ink. Okay? So Hewlett Packard, HP makes printers, and they sell them at near cost. Have you ever gone to buy your ink cartridges and thought, I should just buy a new printer? Right? Because the dang cartridges cost so much money to get the ink, right? It's almost like throw your printer away and just get another printer and you get some cartridges with it. So the whole model that they have is all about this ink. It's about the consumable ink cartridges. They basically almost give away the device so that you then plug in the cartridges and consume the ink, right? 40% of HP's entire enterprise value is their printing business. 40%. I mean, they sell supercomputers and routers and PCs and all kinds of stuff, right? Scientific instruments, all these things, but 40% of their value, of their profitability or cash flow, comes off this ink, these cartridges, right? Donna's nodding. She used to work at HP. Yeah, that's right. So, you stop and think about it. So it's all about the ink is what it's about. Yeah, 25 billion per year in recurring revenue on ink, just for HP. And that doesn't count Canon and Epson and everybody else who's selling ink into cartridges. What I'm trying to get you to understand is that these markets are really big. I mean, this isn't $4.7 billion in Green Mountain coffee, right? It's not $25 billion in HP ink. There's a lot of houses out there. There's a lot of people that are participating in coffee and printing every day. These are huge businesses, right? How many people do you think are interested in their looks? How many people do you think would really grab onto a radical innovation in anti-aging? How many bathroom counters are there out in the world that maybe would have an Age-Lock Me machine sitting on the top of them? I mean, there is a lot, right? So it's the first personalized custom skincare regime. over 500 different potential formulas can be dispensed out of this machine, right? $30 million invested in R&D and counting. They're still investing, right? They refine this product towards the launch in Europe and Asia this year and in the Americas next year. 12 patents pending, so it's all really new. We filed all these patents on it. I spoke to some of the lawyers a few weeks ago, and I said, so what are the patents mostly about, you know? And they said, well, most of them, probably the most important ones are on the technology of how we mix it. That little mixing head, they develop all new technology to know exactly how to mix it, get the consistency, and dispense it, you know, into your hand. And so that's something that's going to be really important. So H like me will do to skincare what Keurig did to coffee. Mark my words. That's a direct quote from me. How's that? Yeah, that's what's going to happen. It is going to be really significant. So you have to say, what did Keurig do? They came out with a radical, different technology. Something nobody had ever seen before. Do you think there were detractors? Do you think people who said that won't work? Do you think there were people who said the machine's too expensive? Do you think people who said no, people won't buy those little cups? Do you think people said, well, they won't do auto ship, you know, they're just going to go down to Starbucks? I'm sure they heard all those things. But when the idea arrives and its time has come, you're not going to stop it. You can stick your finger in the dike, but if it's already leaking, you know what? It's going to happen. Why is this going to happen? Again, because Nu Skin's not stuck on the past. You know, you think we have a pretty big installed base of skincare users? Yeah. Potentially we're going to switch them all. All right? When you can do this in a way where it's completely protected, no preservatives needed really, it's totally sanitary, you don't have to worry about people putting their finger in a jar that has bacteria, and so you have to embed all these preservative systems into the product so that you don't have, you know, a lab culture growing in people's bathrooms, right? So, you know, you have to take precautions. You got to do these things. All of a sudden now, people don't have to twist tops off anymore. It's just like people twisting vitamins, and we went to the packs, and the packs took over. Okay, same kind of thing. It's going to happen here. People are going to put their hand in the machine. It's going to dispense the product, then you're going to get it. And these little cartridges will continue to be innovative. Okay. There'll be these cartridges here for launch, and eventually over time, as Nu Skin does version 3 and version 4 and version 5 and version 6, as they continue to improve and learn and get feedback as people sell these products out there and people use these products, they're going to get better and better. They can drop any new formula, any new serum, any new breakthrough that we get from LifeGen. They can drop it into cartridges and immediately get that into people's hands through new kinds of mixes of cartridges. Right? So these businesses are not small businesses. As I look at the competition, I think about Estee Lauder and Clinique and Shiseido and Japan and all these big brands around the world. They're going to be forced to respond. There's nothing like this out there. It's not like we're innovating off of somebody else's technology in this area. We may be innovating off of HP or Keurig in other industries, but we're just bringing this brand new. This is like in-house created. Nobody else has anything like this anyplace else in the world. I mean, the day will come when this machine will be smart enough that it'll be able to know the temperature and humidity in your area and adjust the mix for the day. I mean, that's what's going to happen, you know. It'll go beyond that. You know, versions 3, 4, 5, 6, it'll get even better. All right, it will. So you just stop and you start thinking about what are the possibilities here. You know, Nu Skin's committed to these categories, right? You don't invest $30 million in counting and then just say, well, that didn't work, and you abandon that in a year or two. Nu Skin invested a lot of money, about 15, 20 million up front on the biophotonic scanner. But they've invested now more than $100 million. So, you know, we're starting off here at $30 million, right? They'll continue the R&D. They'll continue doing what they're doing. 10 years from now, this will be way, way better than the machine we launched with, but it will continue to expand the marketplace. In 10 years, who knows how big it will be? In 10 years, I don't know what Estee Lauder's response is going to be. They're going to have to respond. You know, they'll try to figure out ways around these patents because they'll be forced to. You know, they're going to have to do something. And I'm sure that since the company showed this first picture a few weeks ago at the Investor Day conference, they're all freaked out and they're all working on it. They're all trying to figure out, holy smokes, what are we going to do? Because our existing whole business is threatened now, right? And we're talking big, billions and billions of dollars. So very exciting to see, what's going to happen here and how this device is going to work. Just another shot of it. Bottom opening there's where you put your hand in, and if you sense who's there. I think you'll see a lot more men engage in anti-aging skincare with a device like this because they don't have to think about it. It's quick. It's boom, boom, boom after you shave and it's on and it's good. So this I think is a significant game changer. So I'm really excited about what we're doing. I can see a clear path to $10 billion for the company. You can see how they can do it by region, by parts of the world. What do they do? 3 or 5 billion in China? I don't know, but it's going to be a big number, right? We'll do $1 billion in North America. That's going to happen, right? We got that goal? Where are we at? We'll do $1 billion in North America. We'll do $1 billion in Latin America, right? I mean, the vibrancy of the market in Latin America is stunning. In the face of their challenges they're having, economic challenges, product challenges, it is just incredible what those leaders are doing in those markets and the kind of volume they're generating. It is remarkable. So, 3 or 4 billion, $1 billion here, $1 billion in Latin America, you got a couple of billion in Europe and Eastern Europe and so forth. $1 billion or $2 billion in Southeast Asia that's already on its way. I don't know if you've seen what's happening in Indonesia with Nu Skin, but it is really, really getting traction down there now. There's 250 million people in that country. You just start thinking about what can happen in Southeast Asia. Think about India. India will open someday. We're talking a couple of billion for sure in that market eventually. I mean, it's easy to see 10 to 15 billion. It really is. It's not hard to see it, and it's like not like we have to go infrastructure this whole thing. We've already got most of the infrastructure in place, right? Just adding to and growing, innovating, coming up with breakthroughs like ageLOC Me, ageLOC Youth, all these other things that we're doing, capturing volume in categories that are proven that we know are there, and we come in once they're kind of proved up, and we just end up being the biggest. We end up taking the market share because we have the value and the quality. So for this to happen, I look at these things that are coming, all right? So we've got oils on April 9th, youth in October, potential opening of Chile and or Peru and Latin America late third quarter, early fourth quarter of 15. Those are going to add significant volume over the next 3-4 years as those markets come online. You've got ageLOC Me in Europe and Asia. It'll happen this October. Many of you in this room have contacts, friends, people you know in other parts of the world that can participate in this now. And then they can build their business back here, already having experience in other markets with the product before it launches in the U.S. And then finally, we get that product in October of 16 here in the Americas. So that is one heck of a lineup, don't you think? There's more opportunity here than any one of us could do in the next 3 lifetimes. Really. I mean, it's just amazing how Nu Skin continues to bring forward just these windows that pop open that allow us to jump in, create opportunity, create growth, tap into whole new circles of people that have never heretofore perhaps been interested in what we're doing, and all of a sudden they get very interested. These are the cities that Nu Skin will be in for these expos, launching oils. Okay, so just track those. I'm going to try to hit as many as I can on those cities, but that'll happen in April and May. So if we were going to talk about what you would do today, I'm going to echo what Anwen said a moment ago. The first thing is you have to make a decision. You've got to decide today. Because if you don't decide before you walk out of this room and head back to wherever you're going, you're probably not going to make the decision, right? The first thing is the decision. What did Lon Wardrop always say? The hardest person to recruit is who? Yourself. Have you been recruited during this event? I hope you have. All right? I hope you've made the decision. And I hope you keep the commitment to yourself that you will do this no matter what. You realize that there's really no other options outside that are this exciting, that are going to continue to offer this kind of opportunity and innovation. They don't exist out there. Do you realize that Nu Skin is now at a point where they can invest sizable sums of money to create whole new categories like they're doing with Age Like Me. Startup companies can't do that. Most companies can't do that. Most companies won't do it because they're too embedded and too scared.